Welcome back to the Kang Gang Pod. This is episode number 39. We just witnessed the Kings versus Nuggets loss 116-110. The Kings were so close to completing the 4-0 road trip, but unfortunately,
the refs, they had other plans tonight. And
say them by name.
Gosh, no. I'll how about this? I'll go Tim Donaghy Jr., Tim Donaghy III, and then Tim Donaghy IV.
Tim Donaghy's children did a very, very, very good job tonight. Man, oh man.
And then Scott Foster. Scott Foster was probably on that.
I don't think he was there tonight.
I don't think he was even there.
But he was happy. He was happy with the outcome.
Yeah, something like that. I think seeing Scott Foster, there are two things that make Scott Foster happy. Seeing Chris Paul lose and seeing the Sacramento Kings lose.
That's a 1 and 2. Let's dive into this game because this was one of my favorite games of the season so far. The way we fought throughout this game, the way we started another first quarter, 3 in a row where we started off extremely hot. We started this game with the information that Malik Monk would be out with a right toe sprain. So that means Keon Ellis got the start tonight, which I know Kings fans were happy, but we're missing an elite scorer and Malik Monk, where we, in the previous episode, were saying that Malik Monk was like the difference maker for this game. But now, going into the game, no Malik Monk, so it's a completely different lineup to start. But we still played very, very good in that first quarter. So the Kings led at the end 42-29. I think at one point we started like 5 or 6 again. So we started off really hot. We had an early 16-8 lead. It was pretty much everyone did great that first quarter, but the guy that did the best, not just in the first quarter, but the second quarter as well. First half, we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting.
We've been waiting.
La Riviera, Jake LaRavia,
baby. I mean,
the
dude.
labia. That's what people are calling it.
Oh my gosh. Tonight in that first half, Jake LaRavia was active on both sides. Like, he was playing defense, getting in passing lanes, getting some steals in that first half, and then on the other side, just making big time threes. Like, it was one of those things where it was like, if you watch Mark Jones and you saw that first half, he would have called a hot fish crease alert.
He was definitely on fish crease alert tonight.
Fish crease for sure.
But Doug Christie did something tonight, which I was just amazed by his game plan for Jokic. He had Keegan Murray guarding Jokic to start the game. When we were talking in the previous pod, how is Jonas going to handle Jokic without getting into foul trouble? And then it was Keegan Murray who got the early assignment, which was a very tall task. I mean, Keegan's guarded everyone at this point. He guards the best guard, and now he's guarding the best player in the entire world, Nikola Jokic. So talk about Keegan Murray's defensive efforts tonight, especially in that first quarter.
Well, I'll say this too, because I'll start with Keegan though, but yeah, I mean, just coming out, just being aggressive. I mean, Jokic is 3 inches taller than Keegan Murray, so obviously he has a size advantage and a height advantage over him because Jokic is a very big, strong dude. Like, his muscle,
could do anything. He can do anything on the court.
His muscle mass is like 1 of 1. But the fact that Keegan Murray showed his defensive ability, I think that puts the league on notice, especially for all defensive team votes.
I think he's well deserving.
When you go back to the end of the season, I think that this game will garner some votes potentially for Keegan Murray.
I hope
so, because
Keegan did great, and even though Jokic is just so physical down there, Keegan got into foul trouble. That was kind of the recipe for a later disaster in this game, was just Keegan Murray could not really stay on the floor to get him into an offensive rhythm because he had such a difficult task with Jokic the whole game. And then when he got his 2 early fouls, they bring in Jake LaRavia, who then gets the Jokic assignment. So they were going, that was the mindset, is to have Jonas as the free roaming center. I think the first time I saw this was in the Lakers-Nuggets series where they had Rui Hachimura guard Jokic, and then AD was like the free roaming center to help get blocks and this and that. But it was crazy to see that we went with that method too.
And it worked. I think one thing that really helped us out, especially in that first half, was everybody was crashing the boards. Every miss that the Nuggets had, and they had, let's be fair, the Nuggets missed a lot. Christian Brown.
In the beginning of the game,
yes. Yeah, until they got into rhythm later in the game. But what I saw in that first half was 2 or 3 Kings players all crashing for the board. just trying to make sure that they secure a defensive rebound and not allow offensive rebounds. Obviously, that didn't go the way it did in the second half, and I think that's what we got away from was multiple people crashing out on the boards. But in that first half, I think that's why that lead, ballooned to where it needed to be, because we took care of it. They were a one and done. We got the defensive rebound, and we were able to push the ball going forward.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I mean, 13, being up 13 to a Denver Nuggets team is extremely well. I think the highest we went up in this entire game was 14, but 13 early on is great. Time and time again, it's been us that have been trailing early on in the game. But to do it to a top team like Denver, it was great. I mean, Keon Ellis had 9 points. Valanciunas, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, all in the first quarter. Zach LaVine had 6 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And then the first half player of the game, Jake LaRavia, with 11 points, 3 for 4 from 3, and he had a nice steal on Jokic in the beginning of the game and took it coast to coast. So
coast to coast light work, baby.
Yeah, so Jake LaRavia, he came to play. It was slight. I think in the llast episode as well, we were saying it needs to be an all-out effort from everyone. And early on, that was what was working.
That was it, man. I mean, I do think that one thing that really does help too is just getting your contribution from everybody. I think everybody came to play, and especially more credit to Keon Ellis for stepping up. Obviously, he did his thing, but I did think that overall, where would the playmaking come from? Because Malik Monk is such a very good playmaker for this team. What he does offensively, not just scoring, but just getting other teammates involved, was really important. I think Zach LaVine did a pretty good job of that too.
Zach took over the point guard role a lot. You saw that. I mean, he was doing, especially in the first half, he wasn't really looking to score too much. It was basically trying to run the offense. And that's what, I mean, you were kind of hoping that Keon would make that happen, but it reflected in the stat sheet. I mean, Keon was the one that was getting to the buckets earlier on, and then LaVine in the second half when he started to become more of a scorer.
He had 9 points in that first half, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But the second quarter was really interesting because our starting 5 lineup going into the second quarter was Keon, Jake LaRavia, DeMar DeRozan, Doug McDermott, and Trey Lyles. A lineup we've never seen. Yeah. And I had a friend at the game in Denver, Tyler Bailey. Shouts out Tyler Bailey.
Shout out to Tyler.
He texted me right after the first quarter ended because we were very excited about the first quarter, and then he said, "Oh no, Zach LaVine's going to the locker room." So I think that's why we started with this lineup with Doug McDermott.
Makes sense.
It was interesting, and then I was a little worried at first. I'm like, "Oh God, what's going on with Zach?" But obviously nothing was wrong. But that was our 5-man starting lineup. And this was obviously in the non-Jokic minutes, because if anyone who watches basketball, you know that Jokic plays the whole first. He sits 6 minutes in the second quarter,
and then comes
plays
out
the
for
whole
the rest.
third, sits 5 to 6 minutes, depending on how the team is doing in the fourth. But in the non-Jokic minutes, we actually kind of stood our ground. It took us about 3.5 minutes to get the ball rolling with this specific 5. But then we ended up figuring out, and we still kept that lead around double digits, which was very impressive to me, because that's a lineup that's never seen the floor together. I mean, so what did you think about that?
Yeah, and also Denver was in a field goal drought in that second quarter too. There was a moment, I think there was 5 or 6 moments or 6 minutes where they didn't really score.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't really score.
And it was during that time when we had it was the non-Jokic minutes as well. But the biggest struggle that the Kings had was just going into the second quarter. It was foul trouble, because Keegan had 2 in the first, and then he got at a quick third foul as well in that second quarter. And then Jake LaRavia, who was the backup for Keegan, he got 3 fouls as well. So the 2 guys that had the Jokic assignment were just they could not get a friendly whistle on their end, and they had to get subbed out of the game. So that's we were just playing next man up mentality with the defense with Jokic. But
yeah, and it's so interesting because in that first quarter too, kind of going a little bit backwards, we were the team that got into the bonus.
I know,
which is crazy, and you don't think that when you get into a team in a bonus, especially in that first quarter, that's why our lead took the way it was. I almost felt why not just go back to that in that second quarter, in that third quarter and fourth quarter, and just continue to just be the more physical team going forward. So especially with a team that has lengthy physical wings, a physical player like Jokic, you could get Jokic in foul trouble even further.
I know. That's the one thing. Jokic found a way to not get in foul trouble at all. And the thing that Denver is so good at is how they score in the paint, because obviously when you have a guy like Jokic and you have guys cutting to the basket, you're going to score a lot in the paint.
Yeah.
Denver is the leading team in the NBA with points in the paint. I think they have 59.2. Yes, 59.2 points in the paint is what they average. And tonight in the first half, we played such great defense on Jokic. They only had 24 points in the paint in the first half, and
which is not bad.
Had 40. So
and that's great.
It was incredible. So that's why we were all, as a fan base, feeling so good in the first half. We ended the second quarter with a 10-point lead, but that was what I think was the difference maker. They were not able to score in the paint as easily as they normally do. Jokic, what we always say is we got to make him a scorer, not a playmaker. He only had 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. And 2 turnovers in the first half.
That's pretty good.
Normally, he's getting close to a triple-double by the end of the damn near in the second quarter.
Damn near. But I will say one bad habit that the Kings did that unfortunately came back today was we fouled on a 3-point shot going into the end of the second quarter.
And that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying in the previous episode. I said we did a pretty good job in the previous game, not fouling the 3. We cannot let that happen in this game.
Yeah, and then it happened tonight.
And it happened twice. This game. But yeah, it came at a very unfortunate time when we were up 13 going into the second
end of the second quarter.
And then with 0.6 seconds left, we fouled Jamal Murray. We were triple teaming him, and then Jonas stepped a little bit too close to the landing space. Jamal Murray falls to the ground, 3 free throws, and then they close the quarter.
And
down by 10.
And then we had the ball, and then we turned the ball over, and then they gave Denver they gave Denver a fresh look to almost cut the lead to 7. And at that point, that would have been, oh my God, we are in like fat trouble. Yes, you know what I mean?
That would have been terrible. What's his name? Pickett?
Jalen Pickett, right?
Pickett. Yeah, he was pretty solid for them. But yeah, he had that last second shot and almost made it too. But let's go talk about the players of the half. Jake LaRavia, he had 15 points, 6 for 7 from the field. And then Jonas Valanciunas putting up Sabonis-like numbers.
Dude.
14 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists in the first half.
That's incredible, man.
That's your
backup center.
In a previous Kings life, if Sabonis was injured, Alex Len would be the starter.
Alex Len, Rashawn Holmes.
Do you think Alex Len would put up 14, 7, and 5 in the first half against Jokic?
There's no way he's getting the assists.
Not a chance.
I
don't think he's getting the 14 points.
He's not getting the 14 points or the 7 rebounds.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know about the rebounds. I feel like Jokic would have a double-double immediately against Alex Len.
Yeah, if Alex Len was out there.
A cool 18 and 11 against him, you know what I mean? In the first half, yeah.
And then the other guy that I was keeping tabs on, because when we were recording the last episode, I asked, who do you think is going to be the guy? My guy was DeMar DeRozan. And he went 5 for 15 in the first half. So I was like,
"Oh my God, he shot 15 shots.
He shot 15 shots in the first half. He went 5 for 15. But his last 3 shots to end the half, he made. So he started to cook a little bit at the end. Yeah. So the Kings were up 10 points going into the half. So let's just break down that half one more time. So it's basically playing excellent defense on Nikola Jokic, limiting the paint. And the paint scoring, crashing the boards. We weren't shooting as many threes, but we were getting our points in other ways.
We were getting a lot of them in the mid-range. A lot of them were coming from that mid-range in that quarter. You know? And that was where DeMar was starting to cook, was in mid-range land.
Exactly. And then, Zach LaVine, he wasn't scoring much in the beginning. I think he only had 6 points in the first half, so he was off to a pretty slow start. Keegan Murray was off to a very slow start because he couldn't get into a rhythm because of the foul trouble. But yeah, that was basically the first half, and things were looking good. Things were still in the Kings' momentum, but going into the third quarter, this is where DeMar DeRozan woke up, because in the third quarter, DeMar DeRozan scored 18 points. Started in the third quarter, back-to-back threes. He got to the mid-range. He was making everything, but this is when the refs started to turn. This is when they went heel. This is when they pulled their John Cena.
Yeah. Cue the John Cena photo, by the way, so y'all can see it. So
this is when. That's who was reffing. It was Ed Malloy. That's when Ed Malloy turned heel. He turned heel on us in the third quarter.
And then Adam Silver, he was like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, cueing.
Adam Silver does, and then Ed Malloy goes. And then that's when things turned, because I remember vividly in the very beginning, there was a play where DeMar DeRozan, he was cooking. He hit those 2 threes and he was getting to his mid-range spots. He goes for a pump fake on Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray like undercuts him, no call.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
so
Jonas
bad.
Valanciunas pushes Jokic in the back, no call. Jonas gets 3 rebound dunks, and then next play there's like a bunch more contact, no calls. So that from that
was
2 possession
terrible.
swing, that's what I think the refs were like, okay, we could just not call a bunch of stuff, or we could call it how we want. And that's when things started to turn
The ref-
officiating wise.
Right.
But
Right. And it was so interesting because even back in that second quarter, right? There were challenges that were interesting to say the least.
interesting timing as well.
Interesting timing.
Because like Doug called one early, and then
Mike
Mike
Malone.
Malone called one early. And then Doug called another one, and was it the third, right?
Yeah, it
And
was
then
the
Mike
third.
Malone called his in the third. So we like both teams blew their both challenges.
But
right
they were
away.
both, but they were all
They were-
4-0 on successful challenges.
That's what I'm saying. So it's
Yeah.
like, obviously, if you were to judge the officiating, it was obviously worse towards the Kings side, but it was also pretty poor towards the Nuggets side as
Yeah.
well. It was just a really they're gonna look at the film as referees, and they're gonna be like, "Man, this was not our best effort tonight."
I think what I did also was scroll through Nuggets Twitter too.
Yeah, what
and
were they saying? What were they saying?
I think they were also like very, very like upset with the refereeing too. So I think overall both sides were very unhappy with how this game was reffed. Like it
But
was a
probably
very
at the
poor
end,
game.
they weren't as upset at the end, I'm sure.
No,
compared to
and
us.
it's not as bad, but I feel like when you do something like that, you have to, as a ref, just be 10 times better.
And the thing that made it even worse was just since all challenges were used by the third quarter, like early in the third quarter, we had like 16 minutes of game time where whatever they call, you can't even look at it. And that was the biggest struggle.
We didn't
for us.
we didn't have any challenges left.
Oh, both sides, yeah.
Yeah,
It was bad.
Neither did.
But during that third quarter, when DeRozan was just on that 18-point rampage, he made history again. He passed Patrick Ewing for number 27 on the all-time scoring list.
Oh, snap.
And now he's the one who's right in front of him is Steph Curry. So
Wow.
DeMar and Steph are going to be climbing the ranks together as they finish out their careers together.
How many points is Curry behind or in front of DeRozan?
A couple hundred, like
100
to 200 more.
Okay.
But I remember earlier in the season when DeMar hit 24,000. Now he's getting close to 25 already. He might hit 25 by the end of this season.
By then, that would be a crazy
So it's crazy. So DeMar really stepped it up in the third quarter. Yeah, he shot 32 times the entire game. So he was letting it fly. I knew he would.
I'm wearing my DeRozan jersey because I was like, yeah, he was cooking so much.
He was. He had a great third quarter. He's what like kept us in the lead throughout the majority of the game going into that second half. But the biggest thing, not to talk about the referees too much, but something that was just so mind-boggling to me, and Kyle Draper kept saying it on the broadcast. That's why it's just implanted in my mind like a severance pill.
Was it in your innie or your outie? That's the question.
It's in my outie right now.
You're
So
in your
the
outie?
Sacramento
Okay,
Kings
got it.
only shot one free throw in the second and third quarter.
Dude, that's so bad.
That's so bad.
That's
Meanwhile,
so bad.
while Denver is just shooting as many free throws as they want. But that's something we had to deal with. And that's when things were getting super chippy and they just were not calling it. There was 3 times in the third quarter where DeMar DeRozan was getting slapped on the hand as he was going up and no call right in front of the refs underneath the basket. And that was just such a theme of tonight. And DeMar doesn't, he's very respectful. He doesn't get too upset at the refs, but he was jumping viscerally trying to get a call. And I mean, it was just one of those nights where
it was bad.
But anyways, the Kings did lead going into the fourth quarter, up 9, 93-84. We pretty much were just coasting about close to a double-digit lead the whole time, and we know what Denver does. They always give teams that
They
hope
hang around.
that-
They hang around. That's the thing. Denver, like good teams like Denver, you cannot let them hang around. Like that's the whole truth.
Like with a team like Denver, you need to be up close to 20 the whole game to feel like a little
Denver,
bit
OKC,
better.
Denver, Cleveland, OKC.
Those are teams that could just get out and run.
Dare I say, cover your ears.
Oh God,
cover your ears. The Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh gosh, no, but. You've seen it time and time again with Denver because we just always are just so drawn to that team in the playoffs. I mean, you just see like in that Lakers series when they won 4-1, Lakers were up every single game. And then at the very end, Denver comes
pulled
back.
Their magic.
And you know what they did to us tonight? The same thing. And what was the most surprising was in the beginning of the fourth quarter, because obviously Jokic sits for about 5 to 6 minutes.
God.
In the non-Jokic minutes, they go on a 14-2 run against the Kings. So that's when they took like their first lead in a long time. Like
right, yeah.
From the very beginning of the game. That's when things shifted crazy.
Guys like Russell Westbrook were hitting threes.
That fourth quarter was bad.
Christian Brown was hitting threes. And Christian Brown's like, he's not like a...
He wasn't hitting threes in the fourth quarter, but he was hitting threes like throughout the game.
Like throughout the game. Like he had 3 going into the third quarter, at the end of the third quarter, but... It was just guys like Zeke Naji that were having problems.
But basically everything that was going right for us in the first 3 quarters
went wrong.
Flip-flopped. Like they scored during that 14-2 run. They had so many points in the paint. They had all these fast break points. We were turning over the ball more. It was just... And that was all without Jokic on the floor. And that's what was just so unfortunate because those are the minutes you need to own. I have a stat for you.
You have to. Do it.
During the non-Jokic minutes, Denver was 22-9. 22 points for Denver, 9 points for the Kings in the non-Jokic minutes.
You gotta take advantage, man. You gotta take advantage when your star.
I think that's how we lost this
when your star's not around. You gotta take advantage. Like there's no excuses.
That is how I think we lost this game, and the fact that we were just not doing what we did. We weren't going to what was working in the beginning of the game. In the first 3 quarters, we went away from that into the fourth quarter. I think bad. Just when we went into that little hole during that 14-2 run, that's when we just couldn't snap out of it. Because then Jokic came back at the 7.5 minute mark, and then that's when they started to gain control. And then that's when the free throws started piling up even more. And another stat for you, Jamal Murray.
Oh, God.
Shot more free throws than the entire Sacramento Kings team tonight. He shot 14 for 15. The Kings shot 11 for 14. God. He shot 1 more free throw than us.
That's so bad.
That is horrible.
That's horrible.
And in that fourth quarter, we were outscored 32-17, where we were doing great in the first 3 quarters, winning those by a good margin, and then they outscore us by 15 in the fourth quarter.
Jesus.
Let's talk about those ending possessions because
it was still. I will give Zach LaVine credit.
We have to talk about it right now.
Yeah, because he kept us close. There were times where he took like an elbow 3 that went in. I was like, okay, Zach, and then Denver scores. Right, I think it was the Westbrook 3.
Yeah,
it was a Westbrook or Jamal Murray 3. So I think it went Jamal
and then Westbrook,
and then so it went Jamal, LaVine, Westbrook, then LaVine. So then he comes back and then just shoots it from that other elbow, and I'm like, okay,
and these are contested threes.
As a volume shooter, like that's impressive. Like that's an underrated part about LaVine's game.
And you saw he looked like he was ready to just take us to the promised land at that point. But then after he makes that second 3 in a row, instead of shooting a third, which I was hoping that he'd shoot the 3, but because we were down 3, and then he goes for a contested fadeaway mid-range shot that missed, and then led to a 5-point deficit, and then to a 4-point deficit,
right?
Because Jokic missed 1 free throw. And then this was the play that you were upset with.
I was very upset. I was
because this was after a timeout, right?
Yeah, this was after a timeout. So this was like under 32 seconds left.
Yeah, 30 seconds, whatever. Yeah.
I think your goal there was to get a bucket quickly to avoid fouling with under 24 seconds left. Because if you are able, let's say you score under 30 seconds left, you can play defense, all that stuff, and if you get a stop, you get a timeout, and you got a chance to win. You get a chance to win a game. So, But I think what happened was they took way too long
and they passed up a lot.
They passed a lot of open shots, like a very much open amount of shots.
It was Laravia first because Levine drove.
Yeah, Levine drove,
kicked it out, Laravia, and then he should have shot it. He should have shot it right there.
Yeah, that should have been a shot right there.
And then they were just playing like hot potato, and then whoever had the ball with a little bit of space had to shoot it. But then Laravia, he was looking at Levine obviously because Levine was the one that was hot, but Keegan was wide open at the top.
He was too.
Obviously, we were still down 4, but still like. If he did kick it to Keegan, that could have been,
and that allowed Zeke Naji to recover on defense too.
I know.
So and then people were praising the Nuggets defense there, but more realistically, I think the Kings just had a very bad possession down 4. It's not like
you're right. They were saying how good Denver's defense was,
but it's not that. It was just more of a bad possession on the Kings.
Yeah, it was just in Jake Laravia's head, he's probably like, I got to get it to the better shooter, the guy that's hot. And then instead it backfired on him. He ended up having to shoot a very contested shot when, Keegan he was all eyes on Zach, right? Zach was in the corner. If he, looked to his left, he would have saw that Keegan was open and, Keegan could hit a shot like that. So it's unfortunate how the game ended, but I mean, I'm not upset at the loss. I think going 3-1 on the road trip is amazing. I think
agree.
We're going to learn so much from this loss. I think just showing that you could compete with a team like Denver, I think that's great for the Sacramento Kings. While we're missing Sabonis and Malik, I mean, I think that's amazing.
That's amazing too. Even though coming in, I felt like you and I and most Kings fans would agree that this was going to be a scheduled loss. Yeah. Going in a tough environment in Denver, going up in altitude, both teams were exhausted going into that fourth quarter, but I think the fight really showed that we can hang with these really good teams, and in a playoff series, we're going to give them a lot of trouble.
No, I know, and I think that's the best.
Thing. That's the thing. That's the thing is like if we are able to make a playoff series, we are not just going to be a top team in the West is like, all right, we're going to sweep this team.
No, I think
we're going to give them a competitive fight.
We could compete with the best out there. I mean, like we may not win, but we could, at least be out there playing as hard as we can, at least making it very difficult for any team we go up against. And that's what I think was the most important thing about tonight's win. Not having Malik, not having Sabonis, and those guys that were out there putting up such a great fight, being in control for 80% of the game was huge. And I think that's going to be great for the team moving forward as we continue to go down this gauntlet of March. And like when we were previewing March earlier, a couple weeks ago, we were saying that this Denver game, none of us were expecting to win, but after watching this game, the reason why we feel the way we do is because like we were so close. We were a couple things happening for us to walk away stealing a game in Denver. Yeah. But that would have been so
huge for us. That would have put the league on notice.
Especially for the standings. Can you pull up the Pistons? Can you pull up the Pistons Clippers game right now?
So this is at 10:00 at night right now. By the way, this
are the Pistons winning?
We were recording this, but during it. The Clippers ended up winning.
No!
So that is not good.
So that means the Kings are back to the ninth seed.
Sole possession of ninth now. Sole possession of ninth. Yeah, that's not good.
That's okay.
That's fine. I mean, they're only a half game ahead of us, so it's not like a lost cause. But
no, that's all right. That's all right.
That's fine. We just got to take care of business. We got to take care of business on Friday.
Before we talk about Friday's game, there's one more thing I want to bring up about tonight's game.
Do it.
DeMar DeRozan hit his 60th three-pointer of the season in tonight's game. His career high in three-pointers made in his career was in 2017, 2018, and he made 89. So we still have about 22, 21 games left in the season.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan is on track. Because tonight he was hitting some big
21 games, yeah.
21 games left. He is on track to potentially knock that record out or be right around his best three-point shooting season. So that's just another thing to look forward to as we hope the Kings could survive this March gauntlet, because the way DeRozan's been playing in the mid-range, we know what he could do, but when he could step out and make threes, that is a game changer for us. So I think that's another bright spot in tonight's game, was his ability to not only just score in the mid-range, but also extend.
Shoot, yeah, just shoot, man. That's a
I'm not mad about the 32 shots
the term is, would you say, shoot or shoot, man.
He's a shooter now. I do not hate that he shot 32.
He's been a shooter. Let's just be frankly honest. But now that Fox is gone, I feel like a lot of the shot distribution now is like DeRozan is like 1A, Levine's 1B, and then Sabonis
it's the other way around.
And then Sabonis, like when he's there, also is like more of a second option, like a 1C damn near, like 2A, 1C.
We've got a lot of options. I mean, this game just proved that, we could compete with the best of them, and it's going to be a battle in the West because, man, it's just shuffling like crazy. The fact that the Clippers were like the 4th seed a majority of the season, now they were the 9th tonight before they won. So there's going to be a ton of movement, but now let's break down the game of the week. Game of the... This is what
I think this might be the game of the season, low-key.
I know.
Low-key, this might be the game of the season.
The Nuggets win would have been the game of the season, but now we're shifting it to Friday, which is Kings versus Spurs.
I think it's an anticipated game of the season.
This is the most anticipated game of the season because De'Aaron Fox is making his first return to Sacramento after being traded to the San Antonio Spurs. There were all eyes on Luka Doncic when he played his first game against the Mavericks, but this is a little bit different because De'Aaron is coming back into Sacramento to play this game. So let's break it down. De'Aaron Fox, as we know it so far, is healthy and he is not injured at all, so it seems like he is going to play. So this is huge. Obviously, the Spurs have no Victor. I've noticed that they've been starting De'Aaron and Chris Paul together. I'm still surprised that they're not giving Stephon Castle
they haven't given the keys, so
which is crazy.
Maybe next year,
because the other night he had like a 36-point game and he's still coming off the bench. So I don't know. It's crazy to me. But
yeah, I mean their starting lineup consists of Fox, Vassell, Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, and then Bismack Biyombo.
It's a very interesting.
That's super interesting.
And
then, and then you look at the minutes distribution. Keldon Johnson is getting 27 minutes. Stephon Castle was getting 27 minutes. This is all in the previous game too. Jeremy Shohan had 22 minutes. Julian Champagny,
I kind of like their bench minutes. More than their starters.
Oh yeah, their bench is solid. Their bench is solid. So and then Devin Vassell. He had 37 the other night.
37 minutes, yeah.
No, 37 points.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. But then he had 35 points. Not 35 points. 35 minutes. So he logged the most minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game because San Antonio, today is Wednesday. They played yesterday on Tuesday, and they have Wednesday and Thursday off before Friday's game. And then, we're probably flying back probably right now to Sacramento. Yeah. So it's going to be a battle. So let's break it down.
So let me ask you.
What do we need to do?
Can I ask you a question first?
Please.
Do you feel like Malik Monk plays on Friday?
I think he does.
Okay. That's going to be the matchup right there, I think.
I mean, how long can he be out with a right toe sprain? I've seen some players be out for a long time.
Bare minimum like a week or two. Right?
So, but
I've seen longer.
I've seen shorter and I've seen longer. So, I think it's just based on how he's feeling that day. But, yeah, if Malik doesn't play, then that means...
Keon will be in the lineup.
You think Keon or Keegan's going to guard him? I think Keegan's going to guard him.
I think Keegan's going to guard him, too.
Yeah. I think Keegan wants to guard him.
It's a throwback to when, what was it, last season and all that stuff? Or this season?
Over the summer?
Yeah, over the summer. Where they trained together, yeah.
It's going to be just like they were in the backyard, but on the big stage in a different jersey, which is going to be crazy. Keegan's going to say, yeah, I don't really mind that De'Aaron is on the other team. I just have to treat it like it's any other opponent, and I just need to do my best against De'Aaron. I know his strengths, but it's going to be a tough battle because he's really strong. But, yeah, we did have a lot of those 1v1 matchups in the summer, so I think I know his tendencies pretty well, but we'll do our best.
And then Keegan would also say, well, listen, at the end of the day, I think that, Fox made me a better player and really made me the player that I am. Those summer training sessions were fantastic, but now I'm ready to go and play against De'Aaron in the big stage. I do miss him, though, but I hope he comes back in the summer so that we can do more training together.
He might also say... I know we used to be best friends. That still hasn't changed. We might not talk every day like we used to, but when I see him on the court, it's going to be a friendly surprise to see him wearing that San Antonio uniform. But nonetheless, it's business at the end of the day. I have to just be mentally positive and just take it all out on De'Aaron tonight.
Oh, gosh. And then Keegan would say this.
Well, I'll tell you this. I do look forward to spending time with him after the game, and I look forward to seeing Rasay, Rain, and Poppy all out there. I hope they still keep their seats there, too, because they've been long dedicated. So hopefully they're near courtside, just like the old times.
Oh, my God. It's hilarious. Yeah, so I'm hoping Keegan gets the De'Aaron assignment. All right, bold prediction.
All right, let's hear it.
No, I'm going to ask. I want to ask you a bold prediction. What do you think De'Aaron is going to do to us when he plays us on Friday?
Gosh,
how many points do you think he could score on us? Let's put it that way.
All right, I think. Oh man, that's a good question.
Yeah, just predict his stat line.
So
you could be reaching, you could not.
I'll say this is going to be a reach. I think he will score 33 points and have 6 assists.
Yeah, see, I was going to say he'll have 35 points, but the Kings are going to win.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I was going to say a Kings win, but De'Aaron will have a great game.
You also got to make sure that you stop all the other guards on the team. I mean, this is such a guard-heavy team. And
extremely.
It's very guard heavy. Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Chris Paul, De'Aaron Fox, Keldon Johnson. Even though he's a small forward,
he can play it all.
He almost plays like a 2 to 4 type of player.
Yeah, he can play a lot of different positions.
Julian Champagny, you can't let him get hot.
He is a Kings killer.
Yeah.
I will be the first to say
2 years ago. 2 years ago. If you know, you know. Pre-Wemby times.
When we were supposed to clinch, Julian Champagny said, no, you will clinch the playoffs for the first time in 16 years on the road, not at home. Well, and I will hate him forever because of that.
Wasn't it the division, though? Because we already clinched.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. Either way, it was a clinching moment at the arena, but Champagny didn't let it happen. But yeah, who do you think who do you think on the Kings will have to have the biggest game in order to beat the Spurs?
If Malik Monk plays, I'm going to say Malik. I want to say Malik. I really do want to say Malik.
We don't know. I mean, obviously they haven't talked about it in a while, but when the trade was fresh, Malik and De'Aaron, they weren't talking. I don't think there's any bad blood there. No, I doubt there is.
I think that Fox will. I also will make one other bold prediction.
Oh, let's hear it.
I think De'Aaron Fox will wear the Banzito tacos.
Okay, that would be great if he does. That would be great.
I think he would.
That would be a nod to Sacramento if he does that.
Yeah,
Banzitos will be in the building for that game.
They'll be
parked outside.
Sales are gonna go crazy on Friday.
We're getting Banzitos.
Dude, I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm down.
If you're still listening to the pod, probably 30-ish minutes in, RT and I will be at the arena about 2 hours early.
Yeah, we'll be there early
with these brand new microphones that we just got, and we're going to be asking Kings fans if you will be cheering or booing for De'Aaron Fox, and we're going to get everyone's reaction because we know the fan base is all over the place when it comes to De'Aaron Fox right now. So we want to know. We want to know if people are going to boo or if they're going to cheer. RT, I will ask you first. Are you going to cheer or are you going to boo for De'Aaron Fox?
Let me do this. That way I have this in front. I will be cheering for him.
Good.
I'll be cheering for him. I for what he's done for our team, what he's done for this city, what he's done for, bringing Sacramento back into the scene again.
Back on the map.
He was a person that he was the main guy that really wanted to bring back the winning culture in Sacramento. And he did it. Obviously, it took time. Like everything else,
it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
There was a lot of tough times, but the last 3 years, I do think that were some of the best years where De'Aaron Fox was our main guy.
Yes. Want to ask me?
I kind of know your answer, but yes. What are you going to be cheering?
I'm giving him a standing ovation. I'm going to be standing up for him because De'Aaron deserves it. I know a lot of people on the fan base, It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be 50-50. I think there's gonna be a lot of cheers, and then I think there's gonna be some boos too.
I think it'll be more 70-30 on the cheering. Yeah,
because I think a lot of the people that are chirping at De'Aaron online
are social media trolls.
They're probably not going to the game anyways.
They're social media trolls.
I think it's the people that are like it's a different type of people, the people that are at the games and the people that are online. So we'll see. But let us know in the comments if you are going to the game or if you're watching from home. Are you going to be cheering or booing for De'Aaron when they first introduce him? But that's what we want to know, and that's what me and RT are going to investigate and find out for you guys.
That's what's happening.
We'll be posting that video on the Instagram and on the YouTube Shorts, so you guys will see that. But prediction for that game: Are we how are we going to win this game?
I think we win by 15.
You think it's going to be an easier
Win by
game?
15. Yeah, win by 15.
Do you think this road trip shaped a different mentality? Do you think we're starting to finally build an identity?
Now the identity is to protect home court.
Oh, I like that.
The identity now is to protect home court.
I think that we're building a defensive identity too. Because
I agree.
I mean, if we won that Denver game, they'd be treating the Kings as if how they were treating the Lakers when they beat Denver. Because you know how when they beat Denver not too long ago, they were praising JJ Redick and the Lakers defense on how they stopped Jokic and how they made him just non-existent on the court. If we won tonight, they would have obviously not talked about us in that high of a light because we're not in Los Angeles, but there would have been so much praise, at least in the Sacramento area, for what we accomplished.
Just a little bit.
But we can make it up. We can make it up with a big win against San Antonio. How many games do we have at home, RT?
Oh, let's check. So in the month of March or during this stretch? Just the rest just during the stretch. Okay.
So after San Antonio, what's going on?
So we go on the road to the Clippers. So little tiny road trip. So it's basically just doing little flights to the West Coast teams.
Okay.
So we go to Los Angeles, then we go to Golden State, then we go to Phoenix.
And then we go on another 3-game road trip after this game?
No. So we have a home game against the Knicks.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah, so we have a home game against the Knicks. And then,
is it Spurs, the Knicks?
So it's Spurs, Clippers, Knicks, Warriors, Suns.
Okay.
And then that's when we start our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game homestand.
See, that's why these games are so important, that we win at home so that we could continue the streak of winning. Because that 7-game home stretch
is the biggest home game stretch in our lives.
And it's against
good teams.
Very, very good teams. When I was talking about I'm nervous about March, yes, I was very nervous about this Denver game. But when we play the Bucks, the Celtics, the Thunder, the Cavs, all in the same week, oh my God.
That's how I feel right now.
I'm just praying that those teams.
You pray you go above 500 during that stretch. That's that is absolute best case scenario.
But also because if they're playing us, that means that they're probably going to play Golden State or the Clippers or the Suns or the Lakers. So I'm hoping that when they play us, they rest some guys. Who knows? That's I don't know.
Hey, you never know.
Because in previous years, I would always have tickets to either the Bucks game or the Celtics game, and then their guys were always sitting. So who knows? Hopefully they're at a point where they're so confident in their standings where they could just, sit it out.
I still have whiplash a little bit from when we saw the Celtics a couple of years ago, and it was Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown just taking turns scoring 30 on us.
That was bad.
That was just a bad. But that was the 30-20 game from Sabonis though, so that was fun.
But speaking of the Celtics, did you see what Peyton Pritchard and Derek White did tonight?
They combined for
84 points.
Dude, what?
They had
without Tatum.
I think it was 19 threes.
And they did it without Tatum. Are you serious?
Dude, that deserves a shout out.
God damn.
I have Peyton Pritchard on one of my fantasy teams, and he dropped 43
God damn, man.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But man, it was a tough loss tonight. I had such a good post ready if we won. Oh yeah. I'll just have to save it for next year.
Dude, I had a plan. We play one more time though.
Oh, we do.
We do play end of the season.
It's second to last.
I had something planned for the boys when I had something planned ready to go just in case if we won. Yes. I was going to bring something special for the pod, but we have one more opportunity to do it.
We gotta beat them once this year.
You will see it on the pod. Speaking of things that we're doing on the pod, if you have not signed up for our March Madness tournament, is still open. It will
DM
be-
us. We have
DM
a
us.
couple, like 10 more days left.
Yeah,
Or
at least 10 more days.
10 more days to sign up. Yeah, DM us on Instagram.
We got like 15 to 20 people so far,
yeah, I
which
think
is
we're at
pretty
like
good.
17 now.
17.
Yeah, so that's a solid group. But
Our goal is to get to 50. That'd be
I'd be
fun.
cool with 50. I mean, we'll promote it a lot more when it's like the last
yeah.
couple of days, because that's when people will start to get really excited about March Madness.
And that's when Selection
But-
Sunday is. Yeah. So.
Yes, yeah. During that time, we'll be promoting it more. But is there anything else we need to talk about?
Listen, at the end of the day, there's one thing that you can do. You either lock in with your Audi and you support your Kings, and you tell your Audi this March you need to dedicate all your time and energy, go into the Golden One Center, be with other Audis that are Kings fans, and show the F up. Because this is March. This is March.
Yeah, if you're still listening, let us know if you watched Severance, because we are addicted.
We're hooked. We're hooked, man.
Addicted.
We could be talking about Severance.
We were about to not talk about Denver and just talk about the synopsis of the entire show and our theories. RT has a crazy theory, but we're not going to share that because I think he cracked the code. So we're not going to spill the information.
Spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it.
As if you talked to Ben Stiller.
Dude, imagine if Ben Stiller was like watching this podcast and this guy was
and he's like, "Don't say it." He's like, "RT, do not say it.
Yeah,
do not give it away.
Yeah, don't give it away.
Don't give it away."
And then I actually was like, "Damn it, you actually gave it away."
It's such a good show, but yeah, thank you so much for listening to the Severance Pod. We are a very exciting episode coming to you Friday. We're going to have some special guests in the building. It's going to be a fun night. Let us know if you're going to be at the game, because we will all be there. It's going to be a great game against De'Aaron Fox. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for getting the severance procedure, because, you have to, because Kier will lead us all. Kier Egan, he is our savior. Thank you for being a part of Lumen Industries. And we are ending the pod.
We are innie and outie.
RT's an in-betweenie.